On this edition of Rays All Access, two-time All-Star Chris Archer opens up about one of the toughest years of his life, his struggle to get back on the mound, injury setbacks, and how he's coping with the death of his mother.
Massive support system that I had with my mom and dad both, and I call them my pillars. And we all have less than a handful of pillars, and my mom was definitely one of them.
Arch also gives us his perspective on how the Rays have been able to keep on winning despite all the injuries to their pitching staff, and what it's been like to come back to the organization and city where his big league career began. And Dietrich Enns will tell us about his almost unbelievable journey.
Strike three call.
A wild ride that has taken him from pitching in an independent league last summer all the way back to the majors. Welcome into another edition of Rays All Access. I'm Tricia Whitaker. Well, Chris Archer was excited this spring. Excited to be back in Tampa Bay, excited to be with a team that has postseason aspirations, and excited to get his career back on track. But that excitement was dampened by an early season injury, an all too familiar round of rehab, and then the death of his mom, Donna, in May.
It was really nice, just the way the universe works, you know. I feel like that tendonitis popped up because I was supposed to be at home with my dad by my mom's side. And Cash, Eric, and Kyle Snyder all encouraged me, hey, leave now. And it actually took me about 24 hours after they were like, get out of here, to actually do it. Because being at the baseball field is very therapeutic for me. And it has been since I've been back. But it took me about 24 hours to let it sink in, and that the situation was serious enough and the team was willing to be behind me and support me through that tough time. But it was probably the hardest thing I'll ever have to go through in my life, just to see the person who loves you the most in the world, or one of the people who love you the most in the world, in that state. But she fought hard for about a month. And just thinking about that just lets me know who she is as a person. She wasn't in a good condition, but she was trying her best. And I would, play music by her bedside, sing, show her videos of like some of the kids that she had met through the Rays, like Brad Boxberger's children and Brandon Geyer's children. She was like the grandma of those children like 6-7 years ago when they were first born. So I tried to do everything that I could to lift her spirits, even though she was unconscious at the time. So yeah, it was hard. But I will say this, my dad and I having Rays baseball to go to at 7 p.m. pretty much every night helped us have something to take our mind off those troubles for a 3-hour time period. And then even now, my dad has a sense of purpose. He has a routine. He does stuff at the house, but he knows he's gonna come to the game or watch the game. Myself too. Coming to the yard, doing my rehab a few months ago, it just gave me purpose. It gave me life. And everyone here is so supportive. So I'm sorry to be so long-winded, but yes, it was hard, but I had great resources and therapy through Rays baseball, my dad and I both, and we still use it as a source of therapy.
How much of a support was your mom for your baseball career?
Probably the biggest. Both my parents worked. My mom got off a little bit early, so she was running me to baseball practice, football practice, basketball, wherever I needed to go. She made sure that I was fed, and she dropped me off at the bus stop every day. So like without her harping on education, making sure I was fed, getting me to practices, I wouldn't be here today. So, obviously my dad played a huge role in shaping me as well. So I don't want to, belittle that, but my mom, she was, straight from work, give me food, take me to practice, go home, cook dinner, come pick me up from practice, or go to the game, whatever the case was. So, massive support system that I had with my mom and dad both, and I call them my pillars, and we all have less than a handful of pillars, and my mom was definitely one of them.
And I know that we had previously talked about this, but when you took the mound for your first outing back since injury, you had something very special around your neck from your mom, something that you had given her. Can you tell us a little bit about that and when you gave it to her and why it was so meaningful to you to wear it?
Yeah, so last year, kind of at the peak of COVID, her birthday's 9/11. Pretty much the peak of COVID, it wasn't smart for me to travel home. And I wanted to do something to make her feel special. The last probably 4 or 5 years, I've tried to do something for my loved ones' birthdays, just because I know nothing's guaranteed. So I did some shopping, found a nice ring, nothing over the top, but it was gold and had diamonds on it. And I wrote her a little note along with the ring that said, "You deserve all the gold and diamonds in the world because you're royalty and you raised royalty." So I just, wanted to share that with her, and she loved it. I mean, absolutely, she loves diamonds, and immediately sent me a picture with it on her hand. So, she only got to wear it for 6-8 months, but I knew it meant a ton to her. So having it on me is like carrying a piece of her with me. But yeah, the first game back, the toughest part probably was the national anthem, because she was really big on showing support to the flag, taking that moment, whatever it is, minute 30, 2 minutes. It's a time to, represent your patriotism. She always wanted me to have my hand over my heart. So like those things cross through your mind, and it's from a standpoint of gratitude. It's not like I'm not really sad anymore in that moment. It's just like I'm gonna definitely be very attentive to the flag with my hand over my heart anytime I listen to the national anthem now in her honor. That was the toughest part. You get a little teary-eyed, but it's from a standpoint of gratitude more than anything.
When we come back, Arch tells us what it's been like watching the Rays way evolve over the years and how he thinks this team has been able to stay on track for the postseason despite all the injuries to the pitching staff. When you look at the number of injuries the Rays pitching staff has endured this season, it warrants the question, how? Just how have they been able to overcome a seemingly never-ending stream of pitchers headed to the IL? Chris Archer has some theories.
I think it starts with our front office. They make really, really good decisions. Then it goes to our major league coaching staff. They know how to make people feel comfortable. They know how to express, hey, this is what you do really well. Let's not get too far away from that. Let's always pitch to your strength, as opposed to trying to nitpick the other team. Your strength is always gonna prevail. And then the third layer of that, I think, is our player development, because a lot of these guys are coming up from Durham. So the coaching staff and the front office that are at the minor league level also have been huge. And I spent a month in Durham, so I got to see it firsthand. The pitching coach there, the manager there, everyone's doing a great job with helping guys be the best they can be, so that when they get here, nothing's foreign to them. So it's layered, but we just have a great organization. That's what it comes down to. Our front office makes really good decisions. Our coaching staff here is unbelievable, and our player development down AA and AAA is probably the best in the game as well.
And a chopper back to the mound. Archer with a toss to first, and Chris Archer goes the distance, throwing a 2-hit shutout.
When you look at your run, I want to go back. When you look at your run with the Rays from 2012 to 2018, what stands out to you? I mean, you were a 2-time All-Star, and you were such a crucial piece to this organization. But when you reflect on that, what do you think of from that time in your development as a pitcher?
Yeah, so it's weird. You go through these stages, and I look back to 2012 when I was a rookie, and it seems like yesterday. I try to tell all the younger guys, hey, enjoy being young. Enjoy being the young guy on the team, because it's gonna go by like that, and you're gonna have 8-9 years in a blink of an eye. So, I mean, there's been a lot of change. Like, it's a whole different staff then, whole different team. But I think in 2018, right before I got traded, you really started to see like the pieces kind of fall together. We hired Cash and Neander kind of took over in 2015, and they were like trying these new kind of things that, you know, some players had some pushback on. It was new to the league. They were being criticized by like, you know, media and stuff like that. Um, but they had the formula, and in 2018 you saw that the pieces started to come together, and like now we have a very, very special and unique product where it's like we have really talented players that don't even get a chance to play every day. Like Randy has to get an occasional day off. Wander gets an occasional day off. Manny Margot, who would probably be starting in center field, has to get days off. Brett Phillips, same thing. So we have unbelievable depth that we can kind of just plug and play. We were doing it in 15, 16, 17. We just didn't quite have the talent. We hadn't cultivated the environment, or we hadn't cultivated the talent well enough, but we were building the environment. And now, and it's the same thing with the pitchers. Like we've had 12 different pitchers close a game this year. And we did the same thing last year. I say we, I wasn't here, but a piece of me is always gonna be a Ray because you know, it's been so long. But you know, having 12 pitchers get saves, like that's just unheard of. Maybe 3, 4, 5, but 12 different pitchers. Again, we were trying that in 15, 16, 17, and it was like, it wasn't going very well, but now we have the talent and the formula, and it all works together. And it's kind of cool to be here for a whole different regime, the new regime, and then now like the new regime's philosophy and model is clicking at an all-time high.
Still to come, number 22 reflects on what it was like getting traded in 2018 just as the team was on the brink of putting it all together. When Chris Archer was traded to the Pirates in 2018, it was a moment that created some complicated feelings for a pitcher that had grown to love this team and this city that had helped turn him into an all-star.
When I got traded, there had been talks for a long time of me getting moved, and like I was a little relieved that those talks might be quieted for a little while. But at the same time, right around the time I left, you could see like the team starting to turn the corner. Like midway through 2018, like it all started kind of falling in place. Like Joey Wendell started to play well, and B-Lau was knocking on the door, and Willie Adames had just gotten here, and you know, so you saw some pieces. So it was bittersweet, and that's like so like redundant. Everyone says that, but it really was like there was a sense of relief that I was going somewhere where I probably wasn't going to get talked about being traded, but also leaving behind like something that was very familiar and comfortable. And you know, it's unfortunate because I didn't get a chance to like pitch very well there because I dealt with a few injuries there as well. But all I can say is everything that happened then led me back to now, and I'm grateful for all of it.
How would you describe that time in Pittsburgh? I know when we first talked to you, when you came back to the Rays, you said, I feel like I'm different now than I was before. And maybe part of that was Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I mean, the game, the best thing that I learned when I went to Pittsburgh was the manager had a quote. He said, in baseball, you're either humble or you're about to be humbled. And I think I went there and I got humbled. Not because there was a crazy like ego or arrogance, but the game just has a way of like bringing you down a notch. And so I just have a lot more gratitude from that standpoint. I'm still gonna go out there and be a competitor, and you know, people sometimes don't like how I am on the mound, but like that's not gonna change. But like the level of gratitude that I have and not taking any day for granted is something that I definitely learned there, because I missed time from injury the teams weren't very good. I didn't do very well. So being on a team now that's good and solid and great organization, I'm super grateful for all those things.
How would you describe yourself on the mound?
Uh, I mean, I have a lot of qualities that I got from my mom. Charismatic, energetic, and definitely can be misconstrued. But I mean, from the day I stepped foot on the big leagues with this team, the OG veterans, they were like, "Hey, be you." And Joe Madden really harped on being yourself. He only had a couple rules. It was like show up on time, run hard to first, and work hard. Like that's all he asked anybody. And you know, we put in a crazy amount of work, and being in between those lines is where we can like express ourselves. And I'm an animated person by nature, so if I try to suppress myself and be stoic, then I don't get the most out of myself. And you know, everyone on the team supports me being me, and that's like a really great part about being here also.
Swing and a miss, and strikes out the side.
When we come back, Dietrich Enns tells us how fate, determination, and a whole lot of luck helped him go from pitching in an independent league all the way back to a big league mound in less than a year.
1-2. And there it is. Strike three call. And the Rays are winners. The strikeout by Enns of Gordon, and the Rays win this one.
After getting cut by the Mariners in March of 2020 as a global pandemic shut down baseball and eventually caused the cancellation of the entire minor league season, Dietrich Enns had to confront the very real possibility that his professional baseball career may be over.
Yeah, from everything I was thinking, I wanted to keep playing. I was feeling really good, but in the midst of the pandemic and talking to friends and family and coaches and agents and stuff like that, like, you know, teams were cutting down on players and not adding players. So I didn't think that I was going to have an opportunity the rest of the summer to play professionally. So I really had to take a look in the mirror and be like, you know, where am I at in my career? You know, is there going to be another opportunity for me, you know, down the road? And, you know, I was considering playing winter ball that, you know, in the winter, but then this indie ball opportunity popped up in Joliet, which is near where I grew up in my hometown. And my wife and I like had a real conversation, like, should I do this? Should I not? And she was just like, go for it, keep playing. And I was like all for that. So that's when I went to go to Joliet and play there. So and then that's when the Rays came calling it like 4 or 5 weeks later. So it was a really, really great opportunity to join that organization.
Okay, so you're playing independent league, and then all of a sudden you get a phone call from the Rays, Kevin Ibach. What in the world is your reaction in that moment when they're talking about bringing you to the Rays?
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy turn of events. I was in indie ball, not hearing any like whispers of any opportunity, but I was throwing really well, so I was feeling really good. So I was thinking winter ball would be an opportunity. And then after a game, Kevin Ibach came up to me with the Rays and said, you know, hey, with the Rays, we'd like to sign you. We need a starting pitcher or a guy that can provide some length, and you're built up, and this is a perfect opportunity. So I said, that's great. Like, you know, what do you need me to do? So I think it was the next day or 2 days later, I was on a flight to Port Charlotte to join the team at the alternate site.
So you went to the alternate site in Port Charlotte. You got an invite to spring training in 2021. Then you went to Durham. I mean, what were you realistically hoping for with the Rays at that point?
Yeah, so I was feeling really good in spring training and then to start the year in Durham, and really just wanted to provide make the best opportunity I could for myself. And the coaching staff in Durham is great with Brady and Nappy there, and really just trying to lock myself in a good mindset of attacking hitters and really just being as efficient as I can. And that helped shape me to get up here and to have success up here.
And then you get up here and you get your first big league win against the Tigers. What was that moment like?
That was just surreal. I mean, so special to me. To do it in Detroit too. I went to school in Michigan at Central Michigan, so to do it not far from there was so cool. And my parents were actually at the game and got to see that, because there's been times where, you know, they've planned a trip out and I, you know, got sent down the day before, so they had to cancel plans. So having them there for that, just, you know, it kind of hit me later that day and the next day, just like how special that moment was to them and to me and our family. It was really cool to have it happen in Detroit.
What is it, do you think, about this organization? Because you are not the only story like this. The Rays seem to find diamonds in the rough. What is it about this organization where they can just find guys and fine-tune those skills?
I don't know if I can put a finger on one thing that they do, but yeah, like you said, me and Lou Head were with the Mariners together, and we got released within 10, 15 minutes apart. And he has a similar story as me, and to both be in this organization in the big leagues at the same time is pretty special. And the Rays just have a knack of finding guys that kind of slip through the cracks with other organizations, and they're able to get the most out of guys. And you know, it's credit to the front office and the coaching staff that's here to really get the most out of the guys, and that create this winning culture here of a group of guys that, you know, all are in it together and pulling for each other.
After everything you've been through, Dietrich, I mean, when you look back on your journey, what do you think? The fact that you're here now, and at one point you weren't even sure if you were going to play professionally again.
Yeah, no, it is a unbelievable opportunity, and I'm so thankful for every day up here. And really, it's credit to this team and the leadership that we have with the players and the coaches here, that we treat every game the same. We're trying to go out and win that day, and nothing's really changed. We're not really looking at the end goal. We're looking at one day at a time. So it's really helped guys feel comfortable in their role, and just really try and get the most out of the guys each and every day.
Strike three called, and this game is over.
Before this season, Dietrich had only pitched in 2 major league games, and that was back in 2017 with the Twins. That'll do it for this edition of Rays All Access. I'm Trisha Whitaker. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.